I woke up to a sensation I couldn't immediately recognize, a cool, gentle pressure on my arm, like a hand hovering there without touching me. Blinking against the soft, golden light that filled the room, I realized I wasn't in my apartment anymore. The walls shimmered with an almost liquid sheen, and the air smelled faintly of ozone and wildflowers, an impossible combination I couldn't place. A figure leaned over me, her presence calming in a way I didn't know I needed. She was taller than any human, her limbs slender and elegantly curved, with skin that shifted subtly between shades of lavender and silver in the light. Her eyes were enormous, iridescent pools that seemed to contain whole galaxies, and her hands glowed faintly as they hovered near me, though they never touched. "You're awake," she said, her voice musical, vibrating through my chest as well as my ears. I tried to speak, but my throat felt thick, uncooperative. A dull ache radiated from my side, and as I lifted my hand to it, I realized my clothes were gone, replaced by a smooth, fitted suit of unknown material that shimmered like liquid metal. Panic rose, but her calm presence held it at bay. "You've been injured," she said. "Your body is still recovering. You should remain still." Where am I?" I croaked, my voice barely audible. She tilted her head, studying me with what I could only describe as a mix of curiosity and tenderness. "You are on Calathis. You were close to death when we found you, but it is safe now." I struggled to process her words. Calathis? Close to death? Found me? The last thing I remembered was the shuttle crash, the explosion, the fire, the void of space, and then nothing. You saved me?" My voice was stronger now, though still tentative. She smiled, or at least I thought it was a smile. Her face was too alien to be sure, but the warmth radiating from her made me believe it. "I am called Thyra. Healing is my purpose. Your species calls it medicine, I think." I nodded, though my mind was racing. "Why me?" I whispered. "Why bother?" Her gaze softened. "Because all life has value. Even fragile humans." Fragile. That word hit harder than I expected. I'd always thought of myself as resilient, but lying there, vulnerable and dependent, I understood the meaning in a visceral way. The next hours, or perhaps days, I wasn't sure how time passed here, were a blur of sensations. Thyra never touched me directly, yet I felt her presence in every pulse of healing energy that flowed through my body. My wounds mended faster than they ever could have naturally. Bruises faded, burns softened, muscles knit themselves back together. And with each passing moment, I began to understand the subtle language of her species, a rhythm of thought and emotion that could convey meaning without words. I learned that Calathis was a sanctuary, a hidden world where knowledge of life's deepest mysteries was preserved. Thyra explained it slowly, cautiously, as if testing whether my human mind could comprehend it. The planet itself was alive, its surface a vast neural network of bioluminescent flora and crystalline spires. The sky shimmered with auroras that responded to thought, and rivers of liquid light carried nutrients and information in equal measure. "You are lucky," Thyra whispered one evening, or what I assumed was evening, by the pulsing of the sky. "Many do not survive what you endured. Few humans make it this far. Few accept what comes next." I shivered, not from cold, but from the weight of her words. What comes next? Her iridescent eyes met mine, and I felt the answer before I even heard it. "Choice," she said softly. "You can return to your world, or you can stay. To stay is not merely to survive, it is to be part of something greater than yourself." Part of something greater. The idea should have terrified me, yet it didn't. I realized I was drawn not only to Calathis, but to her, to the way her presence made my fear shrink, The way her whispering voice seemed to untangle the knots of panic I didn't even know I had. I don't know if I can stay, I admitted. I'm human. I have a life there. Life, she repeated, almost tasting the word. It is not defined by where you are, but by what you choose to do with the time you have. And then she did something unexpected. She placed her glowing hand near my temple, still without touching, and shared a fragment of memory with me. I saw flashes of her life, the countless beings she had healed, the struggles she had endured, the moments of quiet joy when a life she nurtured thrived. But intertwined with that was something else, a warning, subtle but unmistakable. You must choose carefully, her thought whispered directly into my mind. Your world will not understand what you have seen. But if you stay, you will see truths no human has ever known. And you may find love. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding. The word echoed in my chest, and for the first time since the crash, I felt hope rather than fear. Over the following days, I became part of Calathis rhythms. Thyra taught me the basic principles of healing, showing me how to channel energy without draining the planet itself. I learned to listen to the subtle cues of life, the pulse of a leaf, the shimmer of water, the faint hum of crystalline structures beneath the surface. It was exhausting, but exhilarating. And always, she was near, guiding me with patience that defied human comprehension. At first, I assumed it was mere duty, a healer's instinct. But gradually, I began to notice the nuances, the way her eyes lingered on me, the faint acceleration of her pulse when I succeeded at a task, the softness in her voice that was reserved for no one else. One night, as we sat on a platform overlooking the glowing forests below, I found the courage to speak. Thyra, why are you helping me? I mean, so completely? She looked at me, her gaze penetrating and tender. Because, she whispered, you remind me that even in the vastness of the cosmos, connections can form between the most unlikely of beings. You are fragile, yes, but you are also strong. And there is something in you, something I cannot ignore. My chest tightened. Are you saying you care? Her lips curved in what could only be described as a smile. I am saying that you matter. That is more than many ever hear in a lifetime. And then, almost without thinking, I reached out, my hand brushing hers. For the first time, direct contact. A jolt of warmth surged through me, a language of feeling that required no words. It was electrifying, terrifying, and perfect. You can stay, she whispered, leaning closer. Not because you must, but because you choose to. Not because I need you, but because I want you here. I couldn't speak. The sheer weight of the moment left me breathless. And yet, deep inside, I knew what I wanted. I choose to stay, I said finally, my voice trembling. I want to learn. I want to live. And I want to be here with you. Her laughter, light, melodious, like wind chimes in sunlight, echoed in the room. Then you will, she said. But know this. Choosing to stay changes everything. You'll see wonders, yes, but you will also face trials. And you will face them not alone. Weeks turned into months. Under Thyra's guidance, I healed completely, and my understanding of life expanded beyond anything human science could explain. I could feel the growth of plants, the flow of energy, even the faint thoughts of creatures that inhabited this world. Calathis became a symphony I could understand, and I became a participant in it rather than a passive observer. And through it all, our bond deepened. She whispered secrets of the planet, of her people, of life itself. She showed me the fragile beauty of existence, and I taught her the resilience and stubborn creativity of humanity. Together, we bridged the gap between two species, two worlds. One evening, Beneath a sky that shimmered with a million dancing auroras, she took my hand and held it to her chest. Her voice trembled slightly as she whispered something I would never forget. "You have healed me as I healed you, in ways neither of us can fully understand. You are not just my student, not just my guest, you are my equal. And I love you." Time seemed to freeze. I stared at her, the enormity of her words settling in my mind like the final piece of a puzzle I hadn't realized I was assembling. "I love you too," I whispered, my hand tightening around hers. More than I thought possible. More than I could have imagined. Her eyes glimmered like stars as she drew me close. "Then we begin together," she said. "Not just as healer and patient, not just as teacher and student, but as companions, as partners, as something the universe has never quite seen before." And in that moment, lying beside her beneath the living sky of Calathis, I understood the truth of her whispered words. Life was fragile, yes, but it was also boundless. And love, even across the gulf of species and worlds, was a force that could change everything. For the first time since the crash, I truly felt alive. And I knew, without doubt, that whatever came next, I would face it beside her, the alien healer who had whispered a truth so profound that it had rewritten my destiny. One evening, beneath a sky that shimmered with a million dancing auroras, Thyra took my hand and held it to her chest. Her voice trembled slightly as she whispered something I would never forget. "You have healed me, as I healed you, in ways neither of us can fully understand. You are not just my student, not just my guest, you are my equal. And I love you." Time seemed to freeze. I stared at her, the enormity of her words settling in my mind like the final piece of a puzzle I hadn't realized I was assembling. "I love you too," I whispered, my hand tightening around hers. More than I thought possible. More than I could have imagined. Her eyes glimmered like stars as she drew me close. "Then we begin together," she said. "Not just as healer and patient, not just as teacher and student, but as companions, as partners, as something the universe has never quite seen before." And in that moment, lying beside her beneath the living sky of Calathis, I understood the truth of her whispered words. Life was fragile, yes, but it was also boundless. And love, even across the gulf of species and worlds, was a force that could change everything. For the first time since the crash, I truly felt alive. And I knew, without doubt, that whatever came next, I would face it beside her, the alien healer who had whispered a truth so profound that it had rewritten my destiny. We rose together as the auroras danced overhead, ready to explore a universe neither of us could have imagined alone. The past was behind us, and the future, vast, unknown, and dazzling, awaited. Whatever trials lay ahead, I would not face them alone. For I had found not only survival, but a connection that transcended worlds. And in her presence, I finally understood what it truly meant to live.